Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
That's the only one you got.
That's one. Is Netflix still king? Better buy Square or PayPal? Those are it.
That's all you got. All right.
What do you got? You got June payroll numbers.
Oh, I see. I keep going the wrong way. This way.
Could it reignite inflation scare? Oil to 100. Here's how it happens. All right, let's do the double. Oil, Square, PayPal, better buy. Robinhood IPO.
That was perfect.
Title to be determined later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom, and that was our thumbnail poses. But anyways, the stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you own it. And today's topics, we got a jam-packed day today, Fat Man Zoom. But before we get into all of that, let's get it on with the starting five there.
Starting five: Sam Cisneros, Rudy Brown, Sean Ethier, Mysterious Gal, and Jeff Chicka Latte. What's up, people?
Why so mysterious?
That's a good name, Mysterious Gal.
That is.
I like that. I'm sure Julia Roos will be here any minute. Cuckoo-chewing you. So we'll see. We'll pick up right where we left off. What's up, people? Sam, I'm glad you like the title. Yeah, Robinhood IPO is something certainly we're going to talk about. You looked at the S1. We'll break that down.
Yes.
We were kind of half kidding, but those are the things we're talking about today. We're going to talk about Netflix. We're going to talk about payroll numbers. We're going to talk about oil. We're going to talk about some PayPal moves. Moving and shaking. So
yeah.
We got a lot of good topics. Welcome to Own the Chaos. If you haven't been here before, make sure you like, because you're going to like it anyways. Just click the like button. Let's get that shit out of the way.
It doesn't cost you a thing to do it. Just hit that blue thumbs up.
I think you had a better day in the market than I did.
I did. Had a fantastic day. The morning was rocking and rolling. Things have pulled back a little bit. Obviously, I've been pretty vocal about me being pretty heavy into the oil and energy plays. OPEC, we'll get into that in a little bit, but OPEC ended up pushing some of their meetings off to tomorrow because they're looking to boost some of their production. So they ended up moving that over to tomorrow. So it remains to be seen. So we had a little bit of a pullback with some of the oil stocks, but they are still rolling, man. I mean, my marathon oil position still at 52-week highs, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is good. It's funny because some of my stops are tripping.
Yeah.
And this is why we do this why I do this when the market's closed, because of the emotion that gets involved. It sucks to see when things are moving.
Yeah.
Like, you determine where the stop was, you got to live with the stop. So I had to continue to remind myself, some of these stops tripping could mean pullback, but ultimately for my account, it's profit take. And it's overall good for my account to do it. It's like trimming the hedges. Speaking of that, I did a couple things. So Airbnb stopped out. I think I stopped out at like 148. Had a good run.
Yeah.
It stopped out on a couple days ago. I think it was like Tuesday it stopped out. And it's on a run. And I was a little bit like bummed. To satisfy the FOMO, I actually picked it up in my Fat Man Zoom account. And that's my long-term investing account, folks. So for you guys that don't know, I have a Fat Man Zoom account, which is basically I just add 2 stocks. It's 7 stocks, Fat Man Zoom, and then I have 3 speculative. I only had 1 speculative in there at the time, which was Clover. So Airbnb is my next one. And I don't even want to say that that's speculative, but just more so something that is temporary. My Fat Man Zoom, I'm always going to have those in there.
Yeah.
So Airbnb, I picked that up. That was good. I scratched the itch. I got it at like 153. I haven't even looked at what it's at, but I felt like it was a good.
Airbnb, yeah, it's somewhere around there. Let me see. I was just looking at these nuts.
Yeah, so
153. Yeah.
Also, in my mini Zoom account, and a couple of you guys reach out to me about mini Zoom, which is cool. So mini Zoom is my 7-year-old daughter. She was dying to have YouTube videos made, so I made some YouTube videos with her, private account. But some of you guys have seen them through my social media. I'm just trying to teach her investing, and she has an account that I've had with her since she was a child, and I've been teaching her investing. So she has this account. I let her be involved in decisions, choose the decisions, but I also throw in some stocks that I'm like, these are stupidly cheap. In 20 years, when she goes to college, this will be off. So I got a little out of hand. She had 22 positions, so I spent the whole morning trimming that back to 11. And I did a couple cool things, which was, well, I think they're cool. I invested more of that money that I freed up. I bought a share of Amazon for her, which I've been wanting to buy, so I had enough capital to buy a share of Amazon for her. I added to SPY, which I want it to be her largest allocation. Right now, Tesla's her largest allocation at like $1.70 a share, which is awesome. But I want her largest allocation to be SPY. She knows what the SPY is. And I also added ARK. And to me, how I use it for my child is an educational tool. One is to teach them about compounding, time value of money, incremental growth, all those things. But also I want to teach her about business. It's a way to teach business. And with her being a female, one of the things that is important is I want businesses that have female leadership. So I decided to get into ARK because one, it's an ETF, so it's diversified already.
Yeah.
But two, with Kathy Wood, I teach her about the leadership. We look at the leadership. I told you the ExxonMobil story. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so I showed him the leadership page, and she saw I was like all men and old gray-haired men. And she's like, wait, so I go to the meetings? I'm like, well, you can listen to the meetings. She's like, well, what if they don't like me because I'm a kid? And I'm like, I think they're going to love that. But I'm like, also, they're not going to see you. But anyways, I want her to see that in leadership of the stock she has. So RK is, I mean, obviously I like it. I don't hold it in anything else, but it's really more an educational thing for her to see, hey, this is one of the best women CEO stock pickers out there right now. She runs multiple funds. She runs this massive company and manages billions and billions of dollars. Like, hopefully that can empower her, and moving forward, she can learn something from it on top of making money off of RK.
And I think that's pretty awesome. I'm sure everybody else will too. And just to clarify, she still is a child. I saw that somebody, you said when you had mentioned just a Freudian slip about, I'd started it when she was a kid, when she was a child.
Yeah. I started when she was an infant. Before she was born, but yeah. What's up, Daniel Camarena?
But nevertheless, I think that's great. And if you guys have children out there, hopefully you've at least thought about doing the same thing, if not already pulled the trigger on some
At minimum, you should have a 529.
Yes. So a 529, if you guys aren't aware of what that is, it's a college savings account. I used to help run those here in the state of Maryland. That was my last quote-unquote real job, was doing that, as well as for the state of Alaska, which is really cool. I mean, tax benefits you get off of that and everything else. It's huge benefits to 529s for sure.
Also, one more thing. I see Claudia R. in the house. Claudia, this is long overdue, but thank you for the donation. She actually submitted a donation through the website, onlychaos.com.
Yeah.
So she sent out a donation a few weeks ago, actually, but I've been meaning to bring it up. It keeps up in my mind. Thanks for the donation. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Claudia.
Are they based off the state they're in? Yeah, so each state has a 529.
Yeah.
And it's set up with a different broker, T. Rowe Price. But literally, just go to Google and type in 529 in your state, and it'll pull up pretty straightforward.
Yeah, all of the gains are tax-free as long as they get used for college.
It's awesome. And if that child doesn't use it, you could pass it to your other children. You can change the beneficiary. There's no reason. So what I did, actually, everybody in my family, from my niece, it was 3 kids ago, everybody gets a 529. So I start them a 529, and I start them what I call is a house fund. Yeah. And so anybody can, I set it up, anybody can contribute towards it in the family, but, the beneficiary will be made the adult. And then, so my sister, for example, is trying to have a kid, so I already just set it up. Yeah. And then when the child's born, we'll switch it over to the beneficiary. But like, everybody at minimum should do that, because you can use it on yourself, make it yourself a beneficiary, which is what I did. I didn't know Mackenzie wasn't even in the sphere. I just knew one day I would have kids. I'm like, well, why don't I just start it now?
Right.
And then when she was born, I switched over to her name. But then if she gets a scholarship, a full ride, then the money can go to the next kid.
Yeah.
You know, so
Right.
it's really a great tool.
Yeah, it really is. Please consider doing so if you haven't done so already.
Grandkids as well. Anybody.
And it's wild, even if you make little contributions. Some states have matching. The state of Maryland has matching as well, but every little bit counts, and you'd be surprised if you start one when your child's born, what it looks like 18 years later. It really is amazing.
I should do the one for my niece, because the one for my niece I started when she was on her second birthday, and I haven't put but like $50 a month.
Yeah.
Not a lot. And
Yeah.
she's 16 years old. Whatever school she I shouldn't say whatever school she goes to, but I should be able to pay for her first year of college.
Yeah.
Just off of my
That's
contribution.
incredible, though.
So like $50 a month, it's nothing. I haven't even felt it.
Right.
It's been nothing.
Right.
So
Right.
anyways.
And Jeff Panika, so 529 for grandkids. Yeah, you can do grandkids, nieces, nephews.
Anybody can contribute to it as well.
Anybody can contribute to it. Yep.
So it's definitely an underutilized tool.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's even a lot of people that even know it exists.
True.
I'm sure there's probably a huge lack of education as far as that's concerned.
I mean, yeah, most people don't even manage their own finances
Yeah.
well, or even know what offers are out there for them, let alone their kids or anything like that.
Yep.
Claudia said, I'd like to do something for my nieces and nephews. They're older, 14, 12, and 10. Yeah.
Perfect.
Anytime you want to start. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Good Scottish name. Yeah, Mackenzie. And she's not Scottish at all.
No, she's not.
Did I even say her name?
You did. I was like, whoa.
Mini Zoom. My bad. I was like, how the hell did you know her name? I slipped.
But anyways, that was a good topic that we didn't even plan on talking about. But that was good. If you guys want to know more about that, I would love to continue talking about 529s. I mean, I know a lot about them. So
yeah, we should just do a segment, an evergreen segment on, as a parent, the one account you must have.
I like that.
All right, so what do we got on tap? What is the first topic?
So the first topic of discussion for me is going to be the jobs numbers. And today was great. The unemployment numbers came in, and they were at a post-pandemic low. 364,000 came in, so well under 400,000. Unemployment claims were made this past week, which is great. Here's the other kicker, though, and this is why I've got myself in the cash. I sold a lot of stuff today. I closed out of my wish position. Yes, I do plan to go back in, but closing out and stopping out at 12.50 so far is looking like it was a pretty good idea, and I plan to buy into that a little bit lower. I ended up closing out of Facebook, made some money on that, and I also closed out of Cleveland Cliffs flat. But I got myself in the cash because I'm not sure how investors are going to react to tomorrow's news, which is non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payroll for the month of June comes out tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So when that comes out, two things are going to happen. One thing is going to happen if payrolls came in and are through the roof. If it's really good, they come in and higher than expected. Inflation fears could very well come back into play. A lot of it has to do with the fact that businesses are paying these employees. We're already seeing higher wages come in, and so the inflation conversation is going to come back into view. If they come in lower than expected, then I think that we could end up being flat, and we might even see a rally because inflation fears might not be as high as they were if the numbers came in exorbitantly higher than expected. And so that's why I ended up taking some cash out. We talked about it yesterday about July being a very volatile month, very choppy, is what to be expected. And so I wanted to make sure that I had some cash on hand to buy the dips in case there was this reaction to inflation, because I think that it, as always, Fat Man Zoom ends up being an overreaction. And so I want to be able to capitalize on that.
So if inflation starts moving back up, if somebody wanted to, if you or I were looking into getting into stocks that benefit off inflation, what would you be looking at?
Yeah, so the stocks that I'm looking at, I still think that the value stocks are very much in play. I know that the growth stocks have been on fire lately, and I still think that they're going to do well. We've talked about that yesterday. Apple's one of the stocks to watch for July. But if the 10-year yield continues to go up, if inflation still continues to become that conversation, then the value stocks, the cyclicals, the reopening plays are still going to continue to do well. Energy in particular, still feel very bullish on that for the second half of the year. And so these are going to be plays that aren't going anywhere, and they're going to continue to go higher faster if inflation scares continue to roll through.
Yeah. This goes back to making sure you have a well-diversified portfolio, people.
Yep.
I don't believe we're in the clear. I think we're going to continue to see sort of this ebb and flow. Last year's setup, I think, was just like a perfect storm situation where growth tech goes off with the earnings, the massive earnings, which we'll allude to in the Netflix topic.
Yeah.
Everything just kind of set itself up perfectly, but this is really how the market works year to year. There's ebb and flow, and you got to be fluid, and really diversification is the best hedge against that, to not try to time it.
Yeah, I mean, the 10-year yield is still well below where it was in March when it ran all the way up to 178. And so right now it's sitting at 148. I still stand by the 10-year getting to 175, even 2% by the end of the year. And if that happens, then the value stocks are going to continue to go up.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, we're here every Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, we have Stock Watch Sunday, but make sure you like, subscribe, click the notification bell, because this is one of the continuing topics. We'll just keep an eye on inflation, and as it goes up, we'll just continue the conversation.
Yep.
All right. So the topic I brought to the table today was Netflix. So is Netflix still king?
Yep.
That's the question. You said this today in level 3. I thought it was good. I wrote it down as a title. And to me, I'm going to give it to you right away. Netflix is still king, and I'm going to tell you why. We'll talk both sides of this. And feel free to take the bear case if you want to push back.
Sure.
Let's set the stage. Netflix in the streaming service has been dominant, is the top dog, has been the top dog. Pandemic, really, I think, worked against Netflix in the big picture because its competitors were able to accelerate their growth. Specifically, the best example of that would be Disney. So as it stands, Netflix has about 200, and I actually put the number down, 208 million subscribers worldwide.
Yep.
Disney, in comparison, on a much shorter time frame, has about 109 million. So let's just say half. For how long Disney Plus has been out, that's really close. They
18 months.
They closed the gap really quickly.
Yeah.
But I would argue that the initial rate of growth would be fast because of the base Disney has, the brand it has. It's a very rare situation. I think it's going to be tougher to get to that 200 plus mark for Disney. I think they can get to 150, 175, but as it increases, I think that it's going to be more challenging for them. Will they get there? Absolutely. Do they need to be number one? No, they do not. As long as they have steady growth, they should be good. They have so many other streams of revenue, great company. But Netflix, this is what they do. And I believe that the attention will come to Netflix later on this year. I think that the challenges that it faces now are already built into the stock. Yeah. And I think this is a great time to get in. And I am trying to get into Netflix. I plan to get in. It's in my long-term publicly traded account. So this is over the next 12 months. But I have patience with this because last quarter, they reported a million subs worldwide. The year prior, that same period, which was the basically the biggest, the thickest of the pandemic, right, they had 10 million. So the stock obviously was beaten down. People freaked out. I think you're going to see that next quarter as well. The year over year comparison isn't going to be great, but I think everybody knows that. And so original content is starting to come back. Lupin's back. We should have our show, The Last Kingdom, back.
I can't wait for that.
Money Heist is coming back.
Yes.
A lot of their flagships are coming back, but also their new original content. And we say this all the time. Guys, I want to be in this before that happens.
Yeah.
The attention, I think, will be on Netflix. I think they're going to regain the crown by the end of the year. Netflix is still king. You heard it here first. I'm about to get in. Watch your back.
Okay.
What say you, Brad?
I cannot wait to see Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
Of Bebembe.
And Ethelfled. And her bosom. So, no, I think that, yes, Netflix by subscriber count is still king. Is it a buy now, though? And that's something that I'm wondering, struggling to answer, at least at this point in time. Because to your point, I'm not sure if people have this built in. Netflix has been sideways essentially since September. And so you look at the subscriber rate and earnings, and unfortunately, and I've mentioned this in our level 3 this morning, that I feel like investors, that's all they harp on is subscriber count. It's like they could come in and their margins could be phenomenal. They could knock it out of the park with earnings, but what does that subscriber count look like? And that's really what people react to. I think you look at Amazon Prime, there's 150 million Prime members, 190 total million Prime members. And so that the media side of their business, they're heavily investing into. We talked about the NFL and all that good stuff as well. So I think there are businesses outside of Disney that could be coming for Netflix as well. But currently as it stands, yes, I would agree that they are king. I'm curious to see how they do this earnings, which comes up this month. We look at the chart right now.
Is it this month?
Yes. I believe, yeah. Yeah, it's the end of the month, I
I'll
think.
get the date.
So we look at it might be beginning of, yeah, it should be the end of this month. So anyhow, I like the fact that this is at least moved back up over the 200-day moving average, and it looks pretty good here. It's actually having a halfway decent day today. If it hops back up over 540, I think we're going to be in good shape. That being said, the earnings are definitely going to be very telling. I don't know if we see a huge jump in subscribers because of everybody being out now and all that good stuff. I do think, because to your point, some of the stuff that's coming back, to perhaps as we get to the colder months, that's when Netflix will really start to come into play.
Yeah, July 20th are the earnings. This, honestly, I feel like this is kind of my bread and butter, getting in things before. Yeah. And we talk about this reopening. I don't want to wait till somebody tells me to buy, because I missed part of that move.
Yeah.
If I believe in the company for the long term, which I do for Netflix, I'm going to get into it. Now, I'm going to take my time, and if earnings is a massive pullback, then I'm going to add to it. That's the conviction I have in Netflix.
Yeah.
However, I think that what would have to happen is they'd have to come in below last quarter, like less than 1 million subscribers. Like if they come in at like 700,000, I do think that hurts them.
Yeah.
But as long as they beat last quarter sequentially, to me, the worst case scenario is it's like it goes back to support and stays sideways is worst case scenario. But what I think is more likely is they're going to report, and they're not going to report anything great, but they're going to say that the future is great. The future is bright. And I think people are going to be really excited. I don't bet on many earnings, but I think this one could be the one, definitely 2 from now. And so my hope is that they increase guidance. My hope is that they give increased optimism to analysts. But we shall see. Listen, nothing's guaranteed. There's definitely a bear case, a strong bear case for this. But it's time for me to move back into Netflix.
If there is a poor reaction to earnings, especially as it relates to subscribers and nothing else, and everything else is great about them, then I will be very tempted to be into Netflix.
I do hate that they have co-CEOs. I don't understand it.
I hate that as well.
Dumbest move as well.
Yes.
Move that I've ever heard of. Savvy Money just said, I would rather buy Disney than Netflix, more diversity even than Amazon. I understand why you would buy Disney more than Netflix. If I had to pick one for the next 10 years, it'd probably be Disney for me.
Yeah, 100%.
I would not agree that there's more diversification than Amazon, but that's an argument for a different day.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. It would be close. But, I mean, Disney's not flying to the moon.
And I can't get my grocery stores from Disney. Disney.
That's true. Very true. But
Amazon has way more than we realize. I think that's the thing.
They have so much. It's crazy.
But Disney is far more diversified than Netflix, for sure.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what we got, guys. I hope you like it. Netflix has not been on the watch list for a very long time. However,
it was today.
It might be starting to come back more.
Yep.
What do you got next?
I have oil. And so, as we mentioned at the top of the show, oil it has started to really make some moves. It popped up over $75 today, and in anticipation of this OPEC meeting, which has been pushed off to tomorrow. The Saudis are expecting or wanting to push 400,000 more barrels out for this quarter. So, a day, and from August to the end of the year is essentially what they want. And so, if that ends up happening, if demand meets that, then oil is going to go the hell off, I feel. And with it hitting $75 a barrel this morning, it has pulled back a little bit, sitting at 74. But, man, there's a lot of analysts out there arguing that we could see $100 a barrel, and I think that could certainly be the case, especially with demand, not just from a travel standpoint, but everybody getting back to work. If people are spending more on infrastructure, we talked about the infrastructure deal, that's going to require a lot more oil consumption as well, at least until we get into cleaner energy. And I think for this year, Fat Man Zoom, even though the energy sector has gone up around 45%, we could see a 100% move out of oil through the end of the year.
That's great, crazy. I think I know the answer, but what are your top 3 convictions if oil hits 100?
I think you wouldn't be surprised by the one. So my first one would be Marathon Oil. I'm already in this. I've been in it since the low $11 range. And so this one is just a good, nice, cheap stock. And you could look at Occidental Petroleum as well. It's a good, nice, cheap stock that, if oil is going to go up, this is a great one to be into. So you look at the price here. It hit 52-week highs, which I was super pumped about today. And I think it does continue to go higher. But a couple of other things that you may want to consider if you just can't determine which energy stock you want to get into as it relates to oil or natural gas or otherwise, then maybe consider looking at OIH. This actually is at a really crucial area of resistance at 230, and I ended up starting to load this up a little bit more. I went against my normal rule of thumb, and that is not over leveraging myself more than 10% of my account. I actually did go up to 15 on this one because I wanted to have more shares before it hit 230. I do think it's going to break out here. So OIH has been lagging the energy sector for quite some time. I think it's only a matter of time before it actually catches up with it. And then there's the XLE. The XLE is another ETF that focuses solely on oil. And so it has companies like Exxon and Chevron in it, amongst others. And this could definitely be a situation in which we see this move up even higher as well. I would anticipate that we could see the XLE maybe go up to at least $63 a share. So these are 2 ETFs that I would consider looking at. Obviously, you could do the no-brainer thing and go after something like an Exxon or Chevron, something like that, for if you just want exposure to one particular company. But I mean, energy is not stopping anytime soon, I don't think, Fat Man Zoom.
Yeah, MRO was a good call out. I was trying to get in yesterday, didn't get in. Shame on me. But good call on you for that one. I mean,
Thanks,
you've been banging the drum on that. I want to use this opportunity to promote the watch list because a lot of these stocks are on the watch list. Yeah. Guys, we send out 5 stocks every morning that on a watch list that's free before the market opens on things we're watching. Keyword. If you guys want that, click the link in the description. You too can get that free watch list that we'll send out to you. Also, so do that. Also, side note, somebody emailed me and said, I think you guys should start doing like a follow-up to stocks. And I'm not trying to shame anybody. Like I understand the request, but like on yesterday's stock, like what happened, why it didn't go up, didn't go down. And I just want to use this opportunity to explain the watch list because it isn't about that day. They may be a catalyst or a reason for us to put it there. But guys, the things we're sending out are for swing trading. Yeah. And so we're saying this is, for one, what we're saying is this is worth keeping an eye on, keeping it on watch. And I think some people, newer people, our OGs, our old heads know this, but they think it's a buy list, and it's not a buy list. It's a watch list. However, that being said, we won't be doing a recap of yesterday's stock. That's such a futile sort of exercise to do. But we used to do.
It'll take up so much time.
Yeah, it would, and it'd be stressful. And who knows why it didn't go up that particular day? Yeah. Oftentimes, you'll see stocks that'll be in the red, but we're putting them on the watch list because we think they're going to pull back. Mm-hmm. And so those are all things that you have to consider. But we used to do where I was right, where I was wrong. We are thinking about potentially bringing that back on a frequency. So stay tuned for that. I think on bigger stuff, maybe like the top stocks for the month could be one where we recap last month and we bring up this month. But something that's a little bit more of a time frame that we can look at. Shameless plugs for top stocks. We just released top stocks for July a couple hours ago. So check that out.
Go watch it.
So anyways, good stuff. My final topic is going to be a battle of the stocks. Square versus PayPal. I'm in Square, but you're the Square guy.
Yes. I see what you did there.
I'm a PayPal guy. And I've been more coming to the Square side, but PayPal made a move recently that is putting me back firmly into the PayPal corner. Brad, putting you on the spot, what was one of the main reasons, one of the main differentiators that we've been talking recently about Square and why we've been a little bit more bullish on Square to date, like right now?
Essentially, their POS systems and small businesses.
So their exposure to reopening and small businesses.
Yeah.
Well, PayPal, here we come. PayPal had bought a company 3 years ago, a Swedish company called Zettle. And it's like the Square reader. So it's for small business transactions. They launched it in, that just slipped my mind, in Mexico and let's just say Europe. I believe it was Europe.
Yeah.
It's coming to the U.S. It's been beta tested, but it's official. It's coming to the U.S. Transaction fees are a little bit cheaper. And while I do this, actually, if you don't mind, can you go into the Discord real quick? Addicted to Trading actually put the fees up earlier today. So if you search...
That's Arfin, by the way.
Oh, Arfin. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So it's slightly cheap. It's coming slightly cheaper, but I think this is a great move by PayPal. PayPal has Venmo peer-to-peer, which crushes it. Their buy now, pay later crushes it. This is a monster. I don't care if you buy PayPal or Square. I think they're both monsters. I think they belong in a long-term, hold forever portfolio. But PayPal now has moved up to the top of the list for me, fintech. I love it. I love this move, Zettle. Zettle is one you guys are going to want to watch out for. And I think what we need to really keep our eyes on is adoption rate. How well does it get adopted by small businesses, and can it take market share from Square? Because I think there's enough to go around.
Yeah, Arfin. Oh, he put it in the chat too. Man, you're so good, Arfin. You're so good. It's like one of the best members we got. It said PayPal will sell merchants their first Zettle card reader for $29 and offer an option to buy additional readers for $79 a piece. The Zettle rate in the U.S. for card transactions will be 2.29% plus 9 cents at launch versus Square lists a standard processing fee of 2.6% plus 10 cents for card payments. It'd be great to have a chat. And you talked about that. So this is actually very similar and competitive with Stripe as well, which we use as a payment processing platform. And so PayPal isn't just coming after Square. They're going after Stripe and some of the other ones as well. So this is going to be a big deal, I think, if they can really execute well, which, I mean, I'm not going to bet against PayPal. I do think that obviously Square has first mover advantage on this to a certain extent. Obviously Stripe does too, which I think that's going to be a huge IPO if that happens this year. But
Stripe will be a monster.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you make a really compelling argument on this. We look at the chart right now, and it looks pretty good. I think that PayPal could very easily break up over $300, and we'll see how this looks when they come out with their next earnings and how Zettle's being welcomed, especially on the U.S. side of things.
Yeah, so shout out to Arfin for bringing that to the table. Guys, keep an eye on PayPal. I'm telling you, Arfin said struggling with which one to buy, PayPal or Square, so I bought both. That's a strategy too.
Yeah.
To me, it kind of boils down to your conviction in crypto. If you're a really firm Bitcoin believer, Brad, I think Square's the way to go just because they're going to have exposure to both, but it's clear Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Square, is going all in on Bitcoin, and they're going to lead the charge. So either one, I think, is going to end up doing well. Square definitely, I think, being the second dog, you have a more of an advantage because all you have to do is gain traction.
Yeah.
Keeping the lead is tough, but PayPal has done a remarkable job of reinventing itself and evolving.
Yes.
This year, they've been great the past 12 months especially. So shout out to them. Guys, you like that content? Like, subscribe, and watch the next one. Bye. I'm just kidding.
We haven't even talked about Robinhood yet. So anyways, just to wrap that up for me, I don't think you can go wrong with owning either one of these. It's like, and we've said this since the beginning of time, that PayPal is like 1, Square's 1A, and I mean, they're interchangeable at this point. So yeah, man, if you want extra exposure to Bitcoin, I think that obviously the Square way is to go, but I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of these. These are going to continue to do extremely well.
Before we get into Robinhood, speaking of men in tights, Julia came in with a secret account just to see you.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, bro, I'm sorry. Like, you call out Daniel Camarena every day live from the FedEx warehouse.
By the way, he's here. He said that things are getting really busy in FedEx. So what's up, Daniel?
Yeah. Julia, she said she needs to go incognito
I heard she likes bags.
because douchebags.
I don't, she said she likes bags in there. She says she loves bags. Tea bags.
You give her butterflies. This budding romance is really interesting to see. I'm enjoying. I'm just going to be the commentator for this. I've come to terms with my role in Julia's life, and it's okay. And it was a little bit of jealousy. I'll be honest about that. I don't have a secret admirer. I don't have a stalker. I don't have a lover. I don't have any of that thing. But her love for you is undeniable. And so, on behalf of Julia, I just want to say, I love you. I love you, Brad. I love you with all my heart. I loved you, and I knew it from the moment that we met. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
I love you. I've always loved you, and I've known it from the moment we met. Does anybody know that? That's a hard one.
Wait.
But
Is it the Notebook?
what if I don't close? What if I don't want good?
Sweet Home Alabama?
What if I don't want fine? What if I want extraordinary? Anyway, that's it. Does anybody know what movie that's from? What if I don't want fine? What if I want extraordinary? It doesn't exist.
Oh my God. The comments are hilarious.
What's your love song, Julia? What's your and Brad's love song? That's what I want to know.
Every romantic comedy says Ivan Brodsky. That is 100% true.
No, that's a direct quote.
I know, but
And you should know it. If I'm quoting it, you should know it. If I'm quoting a rom-com, you should know which one it is. Not the Notebook.
Hitch.
There it is. Bingo, bango.
Should have known. I should have known.
Thanks, Alexandra. Appreciate it.
Okay. Let's get down to this Robinhood business. So, in case you guys haven't heard, Robinhood's going public, and they announced that back in March.
Yeah.
We've known about this really essentially since the first of the year, but they came out with their S1 filing. What is an S1 filing, you might ask? It's a prospectus. It's basically giving you a snapshot of the health of the company. How much are they, bringing in every year? Are they profitable? Are they not profitable? What's going to take them to get profitable? They give their outlooks, all that good stuff. It's essentially an earnings report because they don't have one. So it's the first one before they go public. It's pretty much what an S1 filing is. So anytime you see that on a new company that's coming out or you want to see their prospectus, that's what an S1 filing is. Robinhood's is very impressive, Fat Man Zoom. The amount of growth that they've experienced just since March has been pretty incredible. They have 18 million accounts now, and valued at, so they have $80 million under, what's the word? I don't want to say assets under management. Assets under custody is what it is, because it's not, they're not actually, managing the money for you. So anyway, that is very impressive. That's a huge number from what we've seen from just March. And they're growing incredibly. I don't like Robinhood. I think we've made it pretty clear that how we feel about Robinhood, the company. But you can't deny the fact that they are crushing it right now, especially with the millennial crowd, which we are both in that. But like it's pretty impressive. And I wanted to get your thoughts on, is it worth investing in the IPO or not? Or is it out of principle that you don't want to be in Robinhood?
I understand why somebody would want to be in it. There's definitely a very strong bullish case for it. I wouldn't want to be in the IPO. I think that the whole drama, the GameStop meme stock drama, I think is behind them. I think that it kind of fell off.
Yeah.
I didn't hear many people that followed through with their action of like, I'm going somewhere else. There was an opportunity to capitalize on it. I don't think any broker did a great job of capitalizing off of it. SoFi tried to do it. Webull had an opportunity, but I don't even think they cared to do it, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But so from that perspective, like, I don't think it matters that much, and I think that the worst is behind them from a PR perspective. However, that doesn't change the situation. And if I care about the leadership, I hate the leadership. And so from a trading perspective, I think this is going to be a great stock to trade. From a long-term investing perspective, I don't think Robinhood achieves its goal of democratizing finance or whatever their mission is I don't think they do that because I think there will be somebody taking over in the next 10 years. I don't think they're going to be the top dog. But going into it, they're profitable, which is very rare for IPOs. That's great news. I think the challenge they face is what we just talked about with Netflix. They went from 7 million, 8 million, so I think it's like just under 8 million accounts
in 2020,
to 18 from March to March, right? Or from March to, so a little over a year. And so they're going to have a challenge keeping up. Their first quarter is going to be a decreased growth rate in accounts.
Yeah.
It's going to be a decreased growth rate in assets, customer assets. And so those are all things to take into account. So I'm going to put on my Swami hat. My prediction is goes off, this easy prediction, goes off on IPO. Very volatile, but ends up being above the price target going into earnings. And I think there is a hell of a sell-off after earnings. And yes, I would consider trading it after earnings.
Do you think that this could have a Coinbase kind of move?
I think Coinbase is probably the best example of what it could do. I think it's setting up the same exact way.
Yeah, I think that you look at this, they're looking to raise $100 million on their first day, which would be a record. And yeah, man, I think it would make for a really good day trade. And, you know, we actually did that with Coinbase. Yeah. Day traded Coinbase, made some good money on the initial pop. But I think that there's definitely a case that could be made that this goes and it gets way overblown on its first day and, could end up coming back down and it could get very volatile. Now, obviously, Coinbase has been reacting to the price of Bitcoin essentially and the rest of crypto. And so Robinhood may have a little bit of a different dynamic, but I think the price action could be relatively the same. That being said, I'm with you. I think that if they come in their first earnings and have really good outlook and their growth is exponential and it's not similar to 2020 because they're not going to see those kind of numbers. But if it's still nice and steady and actually is beating their competition, I think that there's a case that could be made that perhaps you could go in and start scooping some of this up after the first earnings.
Vlad on these earnings calls he's a snake.
Yes, I agree.
It's going to be a disaster. I think we've seen through his BS, and I think he's exposed himself as to what he is, and I think there's going to be a tough time getting through his earnings because you generally have to be optimistic, but he's just fake.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't think leadership matters, it does. Now, it might not matter for the days or the weeks, maybe even months, but over time it does. I'd much rather follow a leader than a brand. If Elon Musk goes somewhere else, I'll take my money out of Tesla and I'll put it in whatever he's getting into. I couldn't care less what he's getting into.
Yep.
I'm investing in him. There's a few people like that come along that you bet on.
Yeah.
That opposite is true. There's other people that you wouldn't put a dime in because that's the leader that you're working with. I think Vlad's out in 5 years, if I'm being honest with you.
I'm not going to say that it reminds me exactly of WeWork, but Vlad reminds me a lot of the WeWork situation.
Yeah, that's a great call.
And I think it's unfortunate because the platform could end up being really great if they'd solve some of the issues that they have. But the fact of the matter is, it's just like, oh, sorry, we screwed up. I mean, remember when it was like daylight savings time a year ago? It was a year ago. It was daylight savings time. And they screwed it all up. Yeah. The platform crashed because they didn't take that into account. I was like, what are you thinking? And so like that kind of stuff just blows my mind. It is tough, man. Leadership is everything. It really is. I just don't know if it's something that I would really, truly end up getting behind as an investment. But I think I could definitely make some momentum type of trades out of it. Ticker symbol is going to be HOOD. No surprise. It's just going to be hood. I'm sure there could be a lot of puns and stuff like that.
He's a hood rat.
Wouldn't it be crazy, though, if like the Reddit crowd, the Wall Street Bets crowd, just turned against Robinhood and ended up shorting it?
They need to. I think they will. I think that will be very likely.
That would be crazy if that ended up like if you could just have like a community short.
Better is if they buy up all the share. This is probably impossible, but if they bought up 50% of the company and ousted him, that would be
just like a takeover, hostile takeover.
Move, yeah,
that would be wild. Yeah,
and they put in like Dave Portnoy. So they voted in Portnoy.
Oh my God, it was Dave Portnoy.
He could make that happen if they could come together.
Shit.
And Barstool can piggyback.
Yes. Yeah.
Portnoy for CEO, that would be incredible.
There's like
Penn would buy it.
75 million stoolies out there.
Bro, that makes sense. We're on to something. Savvy says 8 million to 18 million is more impressive considering the animosity around the meme stock.
It is.
I think a lot of that happened though. By the time the meme stock thing happened, I feel like
I don't know though. I
already
mean,
in it.
the Robinhood was breaking the internet when GameStop happened. I mean,
It was.
and
Yeah,
Vlad
right.
actually said that. Like, they were the #1 app that was being downloaded and everything. So I don't know how much has actually been done. I haven't seen numbers from just 2021, but I think there's a pretty considerable amount.
I think that just speaks to like there's no bad publicity, right?
That's true too.
Like you
It's
know,
a very good point.
And I don't think people were leaving, and I do think that like, but here's the thing: they were getting into it. That was before GameStop run happened, and people were getting into it, downloading it as well.
Yeah.
I don't think people knew enough of what was going on, especially if you're buying an account to get GameStop, you probably don't know what's going on. You probably aren't going to blame Robinhood.
Yeah.
To you, it's probably the norm, right? So we'll see. I mean, no denying it's an incredible brand. They have a credible brand. They have a credible model. They capitalized on something, and they have the first mover advantage. So that is what happens in their favor. But man, oust that douche.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's good. Good stuff.
Guys, that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had 171 of you guys hanging out with us this afternoon. Hit that like button if you guys would. We certainly would appreciate it. If you guys want to be a deeper part of our community in our Discord group and get access to our trade alerts as well as my portfolio, all kinds of other goodies, make sure you hit that join button next to subscribe. We certainly would appreciate you guys being a part of the Chaos crew and joining the channel. It helps support the channel itself, the studio you see behind you, and you get to be a part of a great community, get our watch list, all that good stuff. So certainly would appreciate you guys hitting the join.
Camera 2, please.
Camera 2.
Trust me. All right, say goodbye to Julia.
Goodbye, Julia.
Look in the camera. Thanks. Invite her back on Sunday.
Come on back on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
All right, good. And for everybody else, because I'm a man of the people, guys, we'll see you on Sunday. Oh, shit. No.
We're not going to.
No.
It's not Sunday.
Holiday, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, we're foregoing Sunday. Happy birthday, America. We'll see you Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Bye.
See ya.
I quit this bitch.